business. Anybody can do this business. Thank you. That's why you need to marry well, fellas. If you're single,
you can record. If you're single, it's okay. You don't have to be married to press record.
Marry well. That's all I got to say. So with that, here's the other thing. I'll come back around this to the end of the call. I'll mention this again, but this Saturday, Success Mastery is going to be really, really flipping good. We've got Rye Fry, who we know and love, Pro 8, who has built massive organizations in this profession, sharing on Success Mastery, and the man, the legend, the myth, Tyler Daniels will be closing out Success Mastery Saturday. I think Kristen Bailey, if you're a product person, Kristen's awesome on product, but to have that sandwich with Rye Fry opening up and Tyler Daniels closing out, Saturday is not a call you want to miss. And I know Tyler did a bang up job with the opportunity meeting last week. So with all that said, I think.
Oh, you see it, you don't see me, because it says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Well, that's terrible.
You can't.
Hey, Julie. Hey, Julie. Can you make sure that Marcel has co-host privileges in case I can't do that from my end?
Funny, it lets me unmute though.
I thought I saw you momentarily for like 30 seconds.
I know. And then somebody locked me out. Should I log back in?
I think you should. I think it's something weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't say we got you blocked or anything.
Come on back around, Marcel. We'll see you in a minute. So with that, Julie, if you'll just help me keep an eye out. He's probably logged in as building depth.
I was just in the process and then he jumped off.
No worries. No worries.
I saw him come on and then disappear.
He's coming.
Yeah, it won't let me back on for some reason.
What in the world?
Well,
I wonder if it's something on my end.
Now you're co-host. Try it one more time, Marcel.
See, it wasn't on my end.
I
was going to take credit for it.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's weird.
So proper introductions are in order. Some of you may not know this industry legend. We had the privilege of landing and friend and mentor and coach and I don't know, kick butt accountability guy. We had the immense privilege of landing in Marcel and Tyler Daniels' organization, not through any design of our own. It was the graciousness of the Lord who put us here. Otherwise, we probably would not have been able to figure our way out of a wet paper bag to do this business. We just did what these guys said to do, and we didn't know any better. They told Skip, who told Seth, who told a couple guys who told us we should have home meetings. And that's literally how we started this business. And anytime there was some hiccup that happened or some objection that we had to overcome or something hard that happened, we would pick up the phone and start calling those guys. And inevitably the answer would always be, well, go find 5 more people that want to do this with us. Go find 5 more people that see this like we do. Go find 5 more people that want the same things that we want. Go find 5 more people that are willing to do what other people are not willing to do. And we just kept doing that. And we do that to this day, thanks primarily to the input and the behavior modeling and the duplication of our amazing upline, Master Pro 10, Marcel Niederhauser. He's a hard guy to come by. You can imagine how many requests Marcel gets for his time. He has chosen graciously to give so much back to LifeVantage and to this team in particular through the Building Depth platform. If you're not plugged into the Building Depth, we strongly want to encourage you to take advantage of that coaching and mentorship on a regular basis. But Marcel has graciously agreed to join us for now the 2nd consecutive week on our weekly team call. So I'm going to shut up. Marcel, brother, we would love
you, Mark and Krista, once again. So good to see you guys and all of you.
Grateful.
And so Mark just shared a lot of information with you. I want to tidy up ship on one thing that I think is I think it's well needed. And I haven't really repeated this a lot lately, Mark, until you just jogged my memory. And that is what is building depth? Why is it there? And what's the reason behind it with all these other things? So I think last time we talked a lot about the principles and behaviors. And I believe those are success principles that are They're universal. And it doesn't matter what area that you apply them in, they might look a little different. You might change the description, but it's still the same behavior. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter. But for network marketing, we dialed it in. And here's where building depth came about. In the beginning, Mark made a comment that he would be down on a I wouldn't say a tangent, or needed some guidance. He could call and get a hold, because we were all in the trenches at that time building. Then all of a sudden, all of our businesses kind of flourished and came together. And Tyler and I, by all means, are not retired, but our participation changed. We went into developing leaders, and this concept of building depth, that is working inside your organization. We say straight down a leg, but because of some people are interested and some people are not, you go down that leg and it zigzags. Does that make sense? Because some people quit, some people don't. So, but we call that building to depth. Now, we taught people, we went out and did it. And one of the things I've always done is I told people, or I went and worked with people and did those principles, behaviors, and used that concept, but I didn't tell them I was doing that to them. I just taught them by example of what I was doing so that I could secure the volume for me to be able to rank advance and get to my lifestyle without causing somebody frustration who wasn't ready to go right now. Have you guys noticed sometimes you get people involved, they're not ready. But when you're driven and determined and have the personality I have, you have a tendency to ruin those relationships because they're not doing what you want them to do. And that is one thing that took me a long time to figure out. I had to figure out how to quit upsetting the balance and offending people, because when they told me that they were going to do it, I made sure I reminded them that. And I realized very soon that people say one thing, but their actions do something different. And that's the higher percentage of people. Are you guys following me so far? And so I found a way of finding, focusing on behaviors and not results. And I found a way that I could get through people's names lists with people that didn't actually want to build it at that time or later or at all. But we were still able to get them involved, use Pro Tandem, and everybody was happy. And we still got to build our business and get to the ranks that we wanted. That's the method behind building depth. Is the whole concept is for you to be able to stay in control of your business and not turn that control over to somebody else. Okay. So I automatically did that. So guess what? In the legs that we worked in, grew like crazy. In the legs that we didn't work in, trial and error, mud on the wall. Here, struggling along. We plugged them into everything we were doing, but some of it was more hands-on that people got in the way of that, benefited, and then the others had to learn it. Does that make sense? And that's how this industry is built. I want everybody to succeed, but it's impossible to work with everybody. So I have all this knowledge. I've been able to do it no matter what company we've been in, no matter what we've done. I've learned how to either find somebody that's going to lead me to the person that's going to build, or to find the builder. Does that make sense? I know how to do that. And so I thought all of a sudden, like you said, Mark, we get a lot of opportunities to help. We get a lot of people, but they don't want to just plug into what we're doing. They want us to come to them. Well, after you've left your family for several years and build a dynasty, it's kind of hard to start over again, right? So what I decided was, you know what? I can't go. I started getting, Russ and Tracy, I started getting all these phone calls. Can you stop what you're doing? Stop doing the things that you have now. I hope this don't sound bad, but there's got to be an end game to this thing. We want you to stop hanging out with your family and start coming and helping us now, because we're ready. Well, you should have been ready when we were building, right? So I decided, look, I can't just stop and go help everybody, but I can create a place where I'll be present all the time. I can create, instead of me going to them, they can come to me, and I will teach anybody that wants to know how to build their business with control, staying in control of your business, building depth, developing the relationships. I can teach that, but it's not something you do on one training call. It's something you plug into, you apply it, and then you come back and get your questions answered. Everything that we teach you, you're in control of. Let me ask you a question. If Mark's doing a meeting and I call up 5 people and say, hey, Mark's doing a meeting over at his house tonight, what are the chances those 5 people are going to show up? Who's in charge of my business, me or them? They are. But what if I say, hey, listen, instead of, I take Mark out of the equation. That wasn't a good example. What if I say, hey, I'm coming over to your house to do a meeting tonight. What are the chances of me showing up? And who's in charge? I am. Now, my whole point in saying this, you guys, is sometimes we think that if we enroll those 5 people, that now it's their turn to go do the same thing. And if you enroll the wrong people, yeah, what's the right people? If you enroll 5 people that are just going to lead you to the one that's going to build it, but you don't do any of the actions with them to help them lead you, what ends up happening? Or over here, they become a product user, but they don't talk to very many people. Have any of you guys experienced that? I got some hand raised, I got a couple shakes, I got some glazed over eyes, and I got a lot of pictures. So I want some interaction, because tonight is question and answering. When he said all that stuff, I just thought, let me set the presence of why we're doing everything. And I did it mainly so that I could make myself available to anybody that wanted help. Because I can't physically help everybody individually, but collectively I can. And so twice a month I'm on. And then I do this stuff in between. And then once a quarter I get together in person and teach these same things. And not only that, I've attracted 30 other elites that have the same kind of thought process and believe in the same things. And every one of them are applying them at different levels. And they're all having success at different levels. Does that make sense? So even though we got all of this information, if we don't ever do anything with it, we don't get the results. You cannot get results in this industry unless you're initiating it. Until, I don't know if I can use this word, but until once you've mastered the principles and behaviors and you're doing them by example, that allows, by your example, that allows all others to watch and start to duplicate. Because as you start to have success, they want to have success. They're asking you, what are you doing to have success? You're telling them not only by lip service, but by your actions, and that duplicates. And when it duplicates, it creates leader on top of leader on top of leader. So am I confusing anybody right now? It's really hard to tell if we're confusing anybody when they just got their pictures up.
I know. Hey, you guys, if you're decent and you can be seen, please let's see you and hear from you tonight.
If you're wearing
This
a
is
shirt,
David Meisner. I can't activate my video. It won't allow me.
I do not know what is going on.
Yeah, it's blocked. I've
I'm
tried
sorry, I don't
several
want to
times.
put pressure on you, but one of the things that really helps me is when I'm talking to people, I can actually look into your eyes and see if anything's resonating with my message. I don't mean, I look in your eyes and, is anybody home? That was funny.
Yeah,
we
sorry. We're trying to figure out why the videos are
we
blocked.
just
We're
toggled-
trying to get everyone in.
we just toggled a setting on the, so everybody try to activate your camera if you can.
Because people are texting that they want to get in and they can't. What?
Oh, there we go. Now we got some lights on.
Well,
And while people are doing that, Marcel, I want to interject something, because we are the direct beneficiaries of what you're talking about, because there was an upline leader who shall remain nameless, who was part of that initial taproot, who decided that it was not the right time for them for whatever reason, who didn't take advantage of your efforts to build in depth under some of those leaders. And you looked cross-line to us and continued that depth, driving in depth of your taproot, which actually bypassed this team. Everybody on this call would have been bypassed if Marcel had not implemented what he's talking about. So I think it's super, super important for people to grasp, Marcel, what it is that you're talking about, the ability to access coaching and mentorship that otherwise we wouldn't have, because we were no longer in that main big leg.
Well, and that's a good point, but here's a cool thing too. You're all in our organization, and one of the things you'll find out about me, and I'm different from others, okay? My whole goal is not to come on here and try to razzle and dazzle you with all of these amazing things. I'm who I am. My job is to tell you what I did to get to where I'm at. And I really believe this, where we've been blessed, Lisa and I want to give back. The only thing now don't take this wrong, but I position myself from needing people. You never need anybody, but your brain says you do. But once you get your business built, you're no longer in need. It doesn't matter if, this is the part I don't want you to take wrong, whether you do this or not, I'm still going to get paid. So I've actually put myself in a position to where I'm just going to give you information that's going to actually benefit you, because whether you do anything or not, it does not reflect on my paycheck. Does that make sense? Now, it's not like that in the very beginning. In the very beginning, everything you do, but you get to the point, you don't need anybody. When you learn what I'm trying to teach you, you will find the people you're looking for. Does that make sense? I know it sounds like a riddle, but I promise you, and I know a lot of you have done this, you've sponsored 4 or 5 people, and you're now on your 2nd or 3rd year sitting on them, trying to hatch them into pro 7s and 8s, and it's not working because they're not doing anything. And you're stuck because you don't think it works, because you've only exercised your 15 presentations every month on those 5. Does that make sense? Is that fair to say? I'm not putting anybody down. It's a natural thing. And that's why it's so important to stay plugged in to people that are going to constantly challenge you and call you out, and know they're like, nobody made me get on this call. I am here because I want to be. I want to help you guys if that's what you want. And I've always said this, I'm looking for people that will do their part. What is your part? 15 or more a month. You do the best job you can. Plug into the system. If people this is what kills me. I get calls all the time. Hey, I want your help. I want to plug into what you're doing. Can you come out? Can you do this? I say, hey, we'll be in St. George on this time. We got calls every Tuesday, the first Tuesday and third Tuesday. Oh, I can't do that. That's too late. Oh, okay. So then you don't want my help. Does that make sense? Well, I can't go to St. George. That costs too much money. It's costing me money to go. Matter of fact, I probably spend more money out of my own pocket helping people than they spend in the beginning. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm not here to ruffle feathers. I'm just saying, you guys, like before, our world changed for a year, and it's still not quite normal yet, but it's starting to open up. And so when this opens up, the desire to gather is going to frickin' run everybody over like a rocket ship. And the economy has gone to bonkers. People's lives have been turned upside down. Some people have been financially ruined. The whole point in saying all this is their minds are open more so than they've ever been. It happened in 2008, and we took advantage of that, and we didn't stop doing 15 or more. We did it a day. Okay, we didn't stop. We just go, well, who do you talk to? Well, every time you start sponsoring people, they have a bunch of people to talk to, and that's where your presentations go to. Does that make sense? And so you're just always doing meetings. Just don't run around and do meetings cross-line, because it don't benefit you. Get to Pro 10 and then run around and do cross-line meetings. But focus on your business first, because every time you go do something that's outside of your group, you're taken away from your family and your children and your spouse to go do something that doesn't get you freedom. We get a lot of that going on, and I don't understand. Once you get Pro 10, you can do whatever you want. So anyway, So that's why we did it. That's why it's here. Now it's turned into something magical and everybody's invited. And if you believe in those 5 things that we talk about, staying in control of your business, learning how to be a professional promoter, how to get people to do what they don't want to do and make it think it's their idea. That's, bam, when you get good at that, that's when everything changes. Okay. I'm not saying we're trying to mess them up. It's just everybody thinks a certain way. And when you go into their house, you can't think differently than them and argue with them or it goes sour. So you've got to figure out how to take the conversation. Yeah, I used to think like that, but here's what I found. And you got to turn it around. I have watched the functions, Elite Academy. I've watched those flip the switch in somebody's brain and they come 100% now committed building their business. To whereas when we didn't have those, we just talked to them till they're blue in the face. And I don't know what motivates people, you guys. And I quit trying to be the motivator. I started connecting the people to the motivation. And the motivation is a lot of people, a corporate background, a ton of elites, just getting them in an environment where it's not just you and them. Does that make sense? Building depths that environment, Elite Academy convention, LVAs, we're working on them. They're going to start to open up again. The pandemic has kind of messed it up. Not all of the countries opened up, all at once. So be patient on that. That'll be something we'll be able to count on and the message. But here's the one thing I know about the building depth message. This is the last reason. I got tired of going to convention or Elite Academy and hearing of Change of the Month Club every time we went around, or all the calls or all the leads. I just got sick and tired of Change of the Month. And I thought, I am going to, for the other 2 reasons, and this is the third, help create a platform that has a consistent message for like-minded people that think like we do. We're going to do presentations. We're going to put the information in front of people. We're going to follow up. We're always going to do what we say we're going to do. For people that think that way, we wanted to create that environment. That's the other reason. I got tired of it. Unfortunately, corporate wasn't listening. They were listening to well, you guys, if anybody's been to Elite Academy over the last 5 years, we haven't heard from Mark and Krista, who we should have heard from, but we always hear from the same ones. Concur? And I got tired of that. And I'm not afraid to be vocal. I've been very vocal. We're turning that around, just so you know. Think we're going to create an environment where the playing field is fair, and I'm excited about that. Now, obviously, we have a new CEO. He's listening, and he's helping adjust all that. I can't point fingers, but through the past, we have to live with what's happened, and now we're going to go back. And the funny thing is the company now is fighting to get back to the same message that we're already sharing at Build Up. I've never changed, you guys. Once you know how to get to where you're going, you don't ever change. And so if you resonate with those principles and behaviors, see, it's not my philosophy. It's actually principles and behaviors that increase chances of succeeding. And the only time I've ever seen this not work for somebody is if they quit. I've seen some people take longer than others, but that's because those individuals got to go through their own growth curve. And unfortunately, I don't have the secret to that. If I did, if I had a magic wand and I could create all of you guys Pro 8 at the same time, I would be a quadrillionaire today. But I haven't figured that out. But I do know through consistency and never giving up and staying true, not focusing on the results, but just focusing on the behaviors. I did 50 meetings. Nobody signed up. I don't care. Do one more because the next person might, until you get your yes. Those yeses start to build confidence. And I know that sounds like a lot, but let me ask you a question. When I got into Amway, they told me that I would talk to 100 people to find 3 that would go Emerald, that would go direct. So they set my expectations right up. So I had to talk to 100 people to find 3 to make $2,000 to $4,000 a month residual and never have a job again. I would do that every single day of my life if I knew that that was the end game. Now, it was about those numbers until I learned how to talk to people. when I learned how to talk. And one of them was being honest with them, telling them what I was there for, not sneaking them to dinner and whipping out my whiteboard. My sponsoring rate went up, so it wasn't 1 to 3. Then I found out that you actually have to sponsor quite a handful of people to find the ones that are actually going to build it. And so I've taken all of that knowledge and all of that experience, and I broke it down into those 5 things. If we consistently do those, eventually those people will come into play. And what's fortunate for you guys all belong to some line of sponsorship that gets to you and leads back up to Mark and Krista, which leads back up to Skip and Jill, which leads back up to me and Tyler, and so on and so forth. So you have a direct line of knowledge and experience and results. Think about it. The top position in the company. We've done over $1 billion worth of sales in LifeVantage, just in our top spot. We do about $11 to $12 million a month in sales. That's quite a big portion of the company's volume, if that makes sense. And so we have the results. You can look at the fruits of our labor and hey, maybe these guys do know what they're talking about. Now, here's the beautiful thing. When you consistently do the principles and behaviors, the results come, people experience the results, then they own it themselves. See, let me ask a question. And this is, Mark and Krista never lie. Do you guys know that? Mark, if me and Tyler, Krista, if we quit today, are you going to quit?
Oh my goodness, no.
Exactly. You build yourself, you separate yourself from the creation of your income. In all due respect, we all have the right to just walk away. It's everybody else's turn to go build the business now. But what would I do? I need all of you Pro 10, at least Pro 8, but Pro 10 too. Do you know how boring it is all day long, nothing to do because you guys are all at work? Right? We have a lot of life to live, you guys, and I've been thinking about it just in my span. Here's this guy that never heard of network marketing, got introduced to it, owned his own business, went to college forever, has now traveled all over the world because of this industry and because of the results. We've qualified for a lot of incentive trips and programs, right? But I've been all over. I would have never went out of the state of Utah. But because of this business, opportunities for all those years, 12 years to make what a Pro 7 makes. Is it worth it? The 18 years that I've lived now, 18 past that, do you think it's been worth it? I beat the retirement. I beat 65 as retirement age. I retired at 40. How many years is that? 25? Is that the right math? I beat the frickin' retirement by 25 years using principles and behaviors. So not only that, you guys, we're building a retirement asset that will generate cash flow as long as people are consuming our products. Number one being Nerve 2. Well, let's think about that. Oxidative stress. Nerve 2 reduces it. Nobody else has it. It's the only way you can reduce it in the body. We've got 11 years of testimonies of people that have partaken of that product and got results, and they won't go off of it. So now, if that's true, then I have a retirement asset that will last for as long as we can get raw materials, which I think the earth produces them things all the time. Am I correct? So the chances of not are nil. So I've kind of said a lot more. He inspired me to clarify a few things because may I and we, okay, now it's not just me. Well, that right. I and we, and now it's not just me, are making ourselves available for all of you to participate and learn what we know. And this is the thing. It doesn't happen in your first meeting. You come, you get inspired, you go apply. When you get done applying, all of a sudden you realize that you now have a million questions. You come back, those questions are answered. You hear these things over and over, they don't make sense. And all of a sudden one day It comes in like a freaking whooping thing and it totally makes sense. And then you get to that next level. That's how this business works. It's not, well, we'll teach you a script and we'll do an internet program. We'll get on Facebook and we're going to go Pro 10. That's impossible. You cannot take out the human factor in this, the relationship. You cannot. I wished you could. Nobody's done it. Nobody's shown me that it can work that way. Nobody. It's never happened. Does that make sense? So if it's never happened, why do you want to be the one experimenting to try to make it happen when you could just follow the stuff that does happen and take the shortcut? The shortcut is getting involved and going to people's houses or right now Zoom, whatever. So you guys ready? I hope every single one of you ask me a question. And I do have to get off I got another call at 8.
Yeah, so y'all feel free. There's a few coming in the text group.
So,
Hey, you read them to me.
yeah, so Mr. Ron, a legend, South Georgia, will you say those 5 principles to build a business again? The 5 basic principles and behaviors, Marcel.
Yep, and I'm going to show you something. You can get this at Building Depth. Voila. First page. What does that say? Oh, I'll read it to you in case you forget. Show 15 or more presentations a month. Tell your story, the company story, and how you get paid. That's principle number 1 or behavior number 1. Attend all the events, treat as a priority. Okay, this is good because this says this every day. And if you have this, you look at it. If you want to write it down, nice, Bonnie. If you want to write it down, what I'm saying, you can. But I'm telling you, we designed this so that people would look at it every single day. So when they started getting discouraged, they could go to this page and look, oh, why am I discouraged? I'm only doing 1 out of the 3. And it's not always do what you say you're going to do because I said I was going to do these. That was funny. Nobody caught that. Okay. Attend all events, trades priority. Pre-register for all events. You want to grow fast? Be the leader that's always registered. Don't procrastinate till the last day. You want to be the example to your people. Okay. Again, I'm just telling you what I did. I'm not, it's up to you. But this is your answer to your prayers. If you're saying, what can I do to move my business forward? These little things matter. I'll tell you another one. Sign up on a gold pack and then tell everybody that's your friends they got to sign up a platinum pack. See how well that works out. Are you with me? You can't teach people anything that you don't do. And I highly advise, I do platinum packs all day long over the little one. Well, they don't have any money. I think I already covered this last time, but I'm going to cover it again. You're right. And if you don't teach them how to be a business owner, they'll never have any money. Because now you're teaching them they have to work 4 times harder to get the same results if you would have just told them to register with a platinum pack. Pro 4 is a good example. Platinum pack, you enroll 10 people. Low pack, you enroll 40 people. So here's a broke person, doesn't have any money. You got to sign up 40 people to go Pro 4 versus 10. What seems simpler? Well, here's the best one. You sign up a platinum pack, you get $400. You sign up a bottom pack, you get $40. Okay, would broke people want to make $400 or 40? And here's the sad thing. They don't know. They're relying on you to lead them and teach them and help them. And it's a moral obligation to teach them correctly. See, if you know they're broke, you make a decision for them. They don't make that decision. You do. So listen, I could go on all night about these things because they matter. Mark, you know me for a long time. You ever heard me say sign up on a gold pack? Or are they even a gold pack? I don't know.
No, I would check the audio signal if I thought I heard you say that because yeah.
Okay.
Marcel,
now,
this is a good one. Oh, sorry. I was going to give you another question.
okay, well, hold on. Let me finish reading these. Sorry. Okay. Now, I teach people why. And I also offer my help. So for the same amount of work and energy and follow up and phone calls and all of that, how you teach them how to sign up and start their business makes a big difference on how hard they work or don't work. And I'm telling you, if you start getting $400 checks into their hands, their motivation and their belief is going to be a lot more freaking ready to go, if that makes sense. Okay. Life Advantage Academy, Elite Academy, Global Convention, listen to your pro audio. Maybe the app's going to get something like that. Register for your Life Advantage Academies. Okay, those are all no brainer. We're done. You could even add building depth to that if you wanted to. Here's the big one. Always do what you say you're going to do, especially when you don't want to. Even when you don't feel like it, you still do what you said you're going to do. That part of integrity core in your self-worth or inside of you, only you can control that. And if your mouth says one thing and your actions do just the opposite, you will struggle with this industry, because people will not follow wishy-washy. They will look past you for somebody else that they can rely on. Does that make sense? Listen, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking in general. I'm talking to the people that haven't signed up in your business yet. Like, I'm not pointing fingers. This is just the stuff that I've dealt with since I've been in this industry. And these are the things I had to overcome. And these are the things that I learned, that if you will set these say the word, Mark. Expectations properly. Sorry, when you get old, you start losing. Expectations properly, you'll never have a problem. You don't have to go back and reteach. So I'm telling you how to build $1 billion business as fast as you can and not let you have to stumble along the way. Always do what you say you're going to do. Always stay in control of your business. Lead by example. Don't pass the torch. Let them take it. Have I already said that tonight in a long roundabout way a couple times? And then promote, repeat until it's done. I will follow the system for the next 2 to 5 years. This is a 2 to 5 year commitment. I'm going to beat the 45-year plan by however far you're into it. Subtract 65 from where you're at, and that's your number. For 20-year-olds, it's ridiculous what they get. Can you imagine having your whole life not having to work for somebody else? We have all the dots. I mean, we have the lines to connect all the dots. All right. Okay. Long answer, but well worth it. Right there. I don't ever leave home without it. It's kind of like my American Express.
So Marcel, I want to summarize a few questions so that, because to me, they all have the same answer, but I want to sort of summarize them. One is, how do you spot a business builder? How do you move from leading or sort of prospecting with product into business? And then how do you?
I got them all right here.
Yeah. So, but this is what I want to say, Marcel, before I want to preface it, because a lot of these people know us and we would have never been business builders. Okay. So like, obviously we are, but so, you know, you do often attract the people who like you are. Does that make sense? And then all of a sudden you start realizing that your leaders are just normal people, but things have been presented well. And so there's moments in time that change things, right? So just go around that whole deal and try to answer those questions with and I don't like the lead with a business or lead with a product question. I think it's a silly question, and it's not because I think you should always lead with the business. I just think it's just one conversation. It's just an empty. Yeah, I just think you don't know how to listen to people if you just lead with one or the other. That's what I think. So I don't know how you want to explain that, but that's what we'd like to hear.
I got the answer.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why we're asking you.
Okay, so first of all, like, I'm just going to elaborate on what she just said. Okay. If you're staying in control and you want this business to grow, one of the things you're going to learn, it's not about you. It's about the person you're talking to. So if I'm in a one-on-one, I'm talking to those people about what they want to talk about.
They need to hear, right?
No, what they want to talk about. You go into somebody's house and start telling them what you think they should be doing, how long does that conversation last? Okay, so if all they want to do is talk about the product, before I leave, I tell the whole story. It's about the company and the company story. The product is part of the company story. I tell them how to get paid. Right on number 1, show 15 or more presentations a month. Tell your story, company story, and how you get paid. If you do those 3 things, you can't go wrong. Then you've left that person with enough information, right, to make an intelligent decision, and they don't think it's just about product. Telling the product story is only a piece of the story. So that's not one-on-one. I talk about what they want to. And even if they say, I don't want to know about the business, I say, I know, I understand. But in case you get excited about the product, I want to make sure that you know there's an opportunity, and I'll just summarize it. I've never gotten in trouble for doing that.
Right. Yeah.
So your job, okay, listen, this will answer her question. Now, my questions aren't A, B, C, okay? My questions are based on 30 years of experience, okay? Your job as a leader, your job as a business builder, if you're a product peddler and a product pusher and you just want product people, then this, what I'm going to say, does not apply to you. But if you're building this as a business, it is your responsibility to go into people's houses and give them all of the information. Just let them know you're not there to put pressure on them. Let them know that you're there to give them the information so that they can make a solid, sound business decision. Because they're going to invest their time. The money they invest is minimal to nothing when it comes to what the outcome. $1,000 investment for $1 million a year income. So one-on-one, you talk about what they want to talk about, but before you leave, you tell the whole story. Now, if you constantly just talk about the product, then like there's no reason to transfer into the product or transfer into the business. If you're telling the company story, you're telling the whole story. Does that make sense? How do you do that? Just by telling it. Tell them, I'm going to tell you the whole story. Say this too. Listen, I know you don't want to hear about the money. Okay. I understand. I felt the same way, but I'm not going to leave here without giving you the whole puzzle so that you can make a decision. You don't have to do the business if you don't want to, but I feel obligated as your friend, as your leader, as your mentor, whatever, as your cousin, as your sister, as your boyfriend, as your husband, put whatever name you want in there. I feel obligated that I need to share this information with you. And then you do what you want with it, and I won't apply pressure. So that takes care of going back and forth. Now, if I'm doing a meeting, what am I talking about? And there's 20 people in the room, or 3 people in the room, or 100 people in the room. What am I talking about?
Your story, company story, how I get paid.
I'm talking about what I want to talk about. And because I know what works, I'm telling my story, company story, and how you get paid. I'm telling them the whole story. So whether I'm in one-on-one or in front of a great big people, the only difference is when I'm in the people, I'm controlling the conversation. When I'm at the person's house, they're controlling the conversation, but I'm controlling what the information that's being delivered. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that help you guys?
Yes, I think so. Can you answer, how do you sort of spot who's going to be leaders?
Oh yeah. Let's change that question. Because I'm only going to work with people that are going to do what I'm going to do, right? Right?
Yes.
No, you're going to work with everybody.
So the question is, can I change a little bit? Who am I going to work with?
Whoever works.
Whoever will put me in front of somebody.
Yeah, right.
Okay, how do you identify a leader? You don't identify a leader. They just start doing meetings.
That's right.
They just start registering for their own elite cab. Anyway, does that make sense? If you do enough meetings, you'll find people just like you that want to build the business. That's why it's so important you teach everybody the correct way. It's also important to teach the people that aren't ready to go right now the correct way, so that when they are ready to go, you don't have to come back and reteach them. Now, I know, again, we all want this definitive, defined answer, but understand, I've had a lot of conversations with people, and guess what? I've never had the exact same conversation yet. I've had similar conversations, but I've never had the exact same. Everybody's got obstacles and things going on in their life. And so you will project to them what you believe this opportunity is. And if you project an opportunity that's going to change their life, they're signing up and going bonkers with you. If you go in and project a product peddling business, that's what you're going to get. Does that make sense? Am I offending anybody? Because I'm not trying to. I'm not a product peddler. I'm going to take, matter of fact, Tyler and I do more than any, almost, if you put them all together, put all their businesses together, we do more volume a month in getting Protanon out to people because we build a pipeline, build off principles and behaviors instead of a funnel of 7-Eleven stores that are stockpiling product and peddling it. Does that make sense? We taught people how to consume products themselves and duplicate that down through their organization. And anyway, so think about what I said, and next week we'll get together again if we have to, and we'll go into more detail. I want to hear all of your guys' questions on that. So
Marcel,
does that help?
yeah, while we've got you for a couple more minutes, talk
Well, I'm not
about.
going anywhere. I don't got to go tell. I got as long as you need.
Okay, well, I want to give everybody the freedom to jump off. I know opportunity calls are coming up in 10 minutes and some other stuff that people have lined up. So I want to be considerate of everybody's time. But while we have you tonight, can you talk about, I so cherish your freedom to share how long it took you to enroll your first distributor, but talk about seasons of being stuck when you guys would say, hey, just go find more. The wisdom of that has become self-evident over time, but talk about, that sounds great, but practically speaking, what does that look like when you're going out and you hit the wall, you're discouraged, you can't get people to do what you want? Where do you find those 5 people?
Well, they're everywhere, you guys. Like here, I don't even know if Mark and Chris are going to like this, but I'm going to tell you the truth, okay?
Tell it all, brother. Tell it
I'll
all.
tell you.
Totally depends on what you want. If you want this bad enough, they're everywhere. If you only want this half bad, then it's hard to find somebody. So let me go back, because Mark, you said something. So here I am. I've been going for 8 months, and I remember this as yesterday because this was life-changing for me. It took me 8 months to sponsor this guy. So the first guy I showed the business to, I signed him up 8 months later. I sponsored another guy, and then I sponsored a guy working for me. And then I went to Tucson to do an internship, went to my biggest major function, and I went down there, and all of a sudden I'm on my own. I don't have any upline around. I got $1,000 worth of tapes because I went to my upline and said, I'm committed now. It took me a long time to conform. I was a really arrogant, mean person. And the Emerald that was helping me, I thought he was Bozo the Clown, and I didn't bother telling him that. And I paid dearly for that later on. I'm dead serious. So I'm down there, I get my tapes, I go to the mall, I got them stuffed all over my clothes, and I'm getting ready to hand one out, and I throw up in my mouth. That is not me. I'm not a tape hander outer. So I go back home, put my tail between my legs, and I just start talking to people. And one of the engineers that I'm working with is interested, and that's a whole nother story. I'll tell you that later. But so I'm going through this. Well, no, I'm going to tell you that. So this engineer dude, he's interested. I'm going over on Saturday because I've given him the presentation. He's in a car with me for 4 hours, driving in and out of work. And I'm going over his house on Saturday morning at noon. Earlier that morning, he calls me up and says, hey, I can't do it. And I hung up the phone and started to cry. I'm listening to an Amway tape, cassette tape to be exact. Kenny Stewart. And Kenny starts to tell a story about how he had somebody that was all excited and then all of a sudden changed their mind. And he said, call them back or ask them when they do that, can I ask you a question? And of course, they're going to say yes. What happened? You were excited yesterday, now you're not. So I quit crying, called him back. I said, what happened? Can I ask you a question? I mimicked it. Can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah. What happened? You were excited yesterday. And this is what he said. Oh, I talked to my mom and dad, and they're on Social Security, And if they make any more money, they're not going to get their Social Security, so we can't do it. Because he wanted his mom and dad to do it. Okay, I hung up. I started to cry. I thought it was the end of the world. I learned something from listening to a tape. I applied it. This is true, man. I wished I would have recorded this, but we didn't have cell phones back then. We had camcorders like this. Okay. And I called him back. You know how easy it was for even me at that time to get over there. I said, dude, it's okay. They don't have to do it. You and I will do it, and we'll just give them money. You don't even have to report it. I went over and signed him up. And then him and I, a week later, went over to an engineer's house, the other engineer. And I remember doing the meeting. My hand was shaking. And we signed him up. I don't remember their names. I never seen them again when I came home. They never did anything. But what they taught me is I can sign somebody up and I can help them sign somebody up. But while I was down there, my upline was working with this one dude and signed up this guy named Todd Christensen. Todd Christensen went pro 2500, which is an Amway term, kind of like a pro 4. He went 2500 while I was in Tucson. And I freaked out. I came home from Tucson. I had that experience. I could sign somebody up. See, Marcel wanted this. So I was willing to get uncomfortable. I was willing to go through the motions. I was listening to the tapes. I was sucking in that information. I wasn't listening to my neighbor. I wasn't listening to my parents. I wasn't listening to my broke brother-in-law. I wasn't going out and taking surveys to broke people to tell me about what I should do for my financial future. I was inundating myself with these people that had success in this business. And they were teaching me while I was listening. I was applying, and it wasn't happening. And I was getting kicked in the face 8 months, and I wanted to scream. And all of a sudden, I was rewarded. My business started to grow, which built confidence. And I came home and went direct in 2 months later. And I signed up my cousin, and he went direct. And it's like, it's so amazing what happens when you have confidence. That's why I tell you, here's the secret. If you've got somebody that's really scared to do meetings, this is why I say, whoever needs the volume does the meeting and the follow-up. If you're blessed with the gift to present, then you share your gift with every single person that you work with. As you're building depth and going down to the next person, you're doing all the meetings and the follow-ups. You're not turning your business over to somebody that doesn't know anything about the business yet. You're doing it for them, teaching them how to do it and building that line of sponsorship and then building that line of stability. And when you go help and serve, people come around you. They love you. They will be loyal to you. Some will what's the word? Let you down. But those principles will not guarantee anything, but they sure do secure a lot. Does that make sense? So that's that. So I just answered their question in that story. That's what happened to me. And that was after I'm like almost 12 months into this business. And I finally am now on my way. Now I'm still scared to death to talk in front of people. I'm scared to death if I have to go do a meeting with 10 people in the room. I am freaked out, like almost hyperventilation, pass out, never wake up again, scared. And you guys can't understand that. But I'm a product of doing. I've done, you could add up all the meetings you guys have done over the last year, and I've done more meetings than you. Because I've been doing this for so long. Does that make sense? I'm not bragging. I put in the time. Now I have to learn things, everything the hard way. That's why I'm spending my time tonight telling you the shortcuts. Are you with me? People that work with me that buy into what I'm saying, they go pro 7 in 12 months, 24 months, 18 months, 14 months, 3 years, 4 years. Still variation, but they're doing it quicker than 12. Dan, the man Mollering, he wanted to take 6 years. That's just because he's trying to beat my record. Okay, that's another conversation. But you see what I'm saying? It comes from applying. I'm not afraid to tell you you're going to have to work. I am not afraid to come into your house as a brand new person, never done this before, and I'm going to tell you what's expected of you. I'm not going to blow you out. You're going to thank me for that. It's better to tell them what's expected than to sugarcoat it, and then they find out later that you lied to them, and this is what's expected. Because when they come around me, they're going to know what's expected, because that's my job. And if you're telling them the same thing, then they're hearing you say it, they're hearing me say it. All of a sudden, they're going, oh my God, and Mark and Krista are saying it, and Don Powell's saying it, and Jen and Kristen and Cheryl. all of a sudden, this was music to my ears. I'm working with Sherry. I know Sherry's gone, but I'm working in her organization. I'm almost 100 levels in depth. And I'm at a meeting, the guy's presenting, he said, do 15 presentations a month, attend all the fun. It was almost like that far away, and I'm hearing what I taught up here, and it's duplicated down to there. When that happens, the principles and behaviors that cause success are flourishing, and we're not caught up on all of the noise around us. So anyway, I get excited. Why? Because this is a great lifestyle. And there isn't anybody on this call that can't have it. You just got to go do it. It's not doing freaking calls every day. This is not building your business. I'm just telling you, a weekly call is not building your business. If you go out and apply yourself and then get on a call and there's actually information, I'm not saying Mark or Chris give you information, but you're actually getting information to validate what you just did that week. That all works. But we've been doing COVID all year, and company thinks we need a call every week. People think that they're building their business, getting on those calls, and nothing's happening because they're not getting anybody on there with them. And anyway, does that make sense to all of my favorite friends?
Yes, it was an epiphany when I discovered I could not think my way to Pro 8.
Oh,
We're
you
listening
guys,
to enough
you
training
guys
calls
are,
to get there.
Fortunately, Krista was doing the heavy lifting at the time. So,
well,
just
that's proof right there that anything can happen for anybody. It was it was like throwing bricks at Mark to get him to realize. But let me tell you something. I've never met a more dynamic, committed servant leaders. They care. They don't care about Mark and Krista. They care about all of you. And they love you guys all the time. They speak highly of everybody on this call. I've listened to them talk to corporate. They go to battle. It's not about them. That is just proof that building depth, even though that it really didn't, because if things would have been right, you guys, I believe, I'm not going to tell that story. But anyway,
because Marcel, everyone you see on this page and in this team, they have such hearts of gold, and they want to help so many people. They just want to help everyone. They're incredible leaders. So that's why we wanted you to speak to them so that they can build residual income and help everyone. And I keep saying that, you guys, you can sign up customers all day long, but you're not building residual income. You just got to sign up customers tomorrow if you want more money. So you've got to have leaders who are signing people up, because that builds a team. So they're just such beautiful people. They just want to help people all the time and serve people. So that's why we love them.
I want to jump in here too, Marcel, and I think it's important to connect these dots for people. I know some people got to go. If you got to go, got to go. Love y'all. Have a great week. But here's the thing that happened for me. When Marcel was saying we've never signed up a customer, I was like, what? How do you not sign up a customer with these products? I mean, there's hurting people, there's sick people all around. So we came in through the product door, and it sounded a little, I don't know, mercenary or heartless when
we didn't necessarily come into the product door. I don't want to confuse people. We saw a full presentation, a full hour-long presentation of both.
Maybe that was a little
people are already confused.
Too broad a brush. Okay, so to clarify, we were not network marketers, and while the business became self-evident as we went, we began to realize what Marcel and Tyler were saying was, you've only got a certain amount of time to build this thing. So you can spend all your time trying to get leaves on the tree, or you can build the branches. You can put time in finding those leaders that are going to build the tree. It's the same amount of time, and you're going to have more success. You're going to help more people if you'll focus on
telling the whole story.
The business building behaviors of telling the whole story, not just focusing on the little yellow pill, because it goes from addition to multiplication to exponential growth when that happens. And that's why we've loved this building depth system, because it's that duplication that Marcel's talking about, 100 levels deep, that grows the tree. And if you can do that 2 or 3 times, Bob's your uncle, right? So Marcel, last words before we.
I will. Last words. I got bad news for you. I don't have to be on my call till 8. So if anybody's got to go. If we all got to go, great. If not, we're not done.
Great. So, love it.
I'm going to so if you got to go, check out, do your thing, but I'm going to keep going. So
great.
That's because I don't know how to keep track of time. But I like the way you said that, build the branch. Now, let me clarify some things, you guys. People have a hard time believing this. And what I want you to understand is once you learn what I'm trying to teach you, you can build any business, any company. Like once you know how to do this, it don't matter what the product is. Does that make sense? It don't matter what the product is. And we did all of our sponsoring in the first 90 days. Well, do you remember, Mark, in the first 90 days, you had to go to GNC to get your product?
Yeah,
We
that
weren't
was
there yet.
before our time.
Hey,
Yep.
Life Vantage wasn't shipping it. So how do you get a customer if you don't even have any product? Oh, I'm going to sign you up as a customer. Go to GNC and get your product from them, but we're a network marketing company. You see how we don't have any product to give you. We signed up all distributors. Now, we had more customers in our business than anybody else does, because once you start the principles and behaviors, people will say, no, I don't want to build your business, but I do want to take your product. See, when Mark says, don't sign up customers, or Krista, that's not what they're saying. They're saying present the opportunity and let the person decide if they want to do the whole thing, if they want to be a builder or a lead.
Right.
Leads just want to use the product and maybe lead you to somebody, right? But you're going to get customers by a default. But what our company's been teaching is just go straight to get customers, and that's all you got to do. And here's the volume of the company. It's kind of like if that was somebody's heartbeat, it would not be good because they would be dead. But the company's not dead because it's still doing 200 million, but right? And then, we're on a promo and flood out all these products. Beep, little heartbeat.
Right.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I don't care. That is not the way to do things. Okay. The way to do things is teach people correct principles and let them govern themselves and assist them in whatever they need assistance. Don't do everything for them. Help them. What they're not good at yet, fill in. Sooner or later, they will become good at those things. So it takes time. Building depth isn't something that happens in a week and everything changes. It's a process. But when it's done and it's done right, it's a residual check no matter what you do or don't do.
Yeah. So Marcel, I want to ask a really super practical question, because this is what I'm dealing with, and I'm personally, and also sort of tell you my solution on it, and then you guide me on it, because I think a lot of the people on this call are dealing with this. So in the last couple of years, there's just been so much push on social media. And then there's the bonus pool, which, is great. It's different than when we use the bonus pool for building a business. But, and I think what's happening is that it's been a little confusing on how you use social media to actually connect with people. But the teaching has lacked on, and the training on how you follow up, even once you've connected with someone. And a lot of that's easily done because of health issues, right? Because people talk about their health issues, or they're in groups that, have something about health, et cetera, et cetera. So then you can target that, get some interest. They may order that night, they may order in a week if you follow up. And I think training to pull them in, and I'm telling them, like, the moment I connect with a person, then I let them know that this is a company that I work with, because I love helping people build residual income and I love the products. Okay. So I get the door open really quickly to be able to respond back to them, to try to get them on a three-way phone call, or to get them on a Zoom, or to get them on a presentation, or if they're close, then I'll go to their house, whatever. But I feel like there's sort of lack of training. I think there's a lot of good training on social media, on contacting people, on following up. But there's...
Let me ask you a question real quick. Okay, when you first started, like when you and Mark first got rolling, how good were you about getting the information? How good were you? Everything you just said to me that you're good at, how good were you in the beginning?
Well, I did get...
Mark just answered it. It's just how good were you?
Well, Mark didn't invite anyone he didn't know. He wasn't any good. I got the people to the meetings.
I know, but are you better today than you were then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's so easy now.
Well, that's the answer.
But
You
this is
gotta
the
do
thing.
it.
I always invited to a presentation because we didn't have anything else. Like that was our only option. I didn't say, hey, I got to tell you about this product because we didn't have anything to tell them about the product. We had to make CDs at the ABC primetime. So that's what I'm saying. Like
What else?
Or the
What else
DVD.
do we need?
nothing but the,
Right, a whiteboard.
No, that's what I'm saying. We
yes,
have
thank you.
totally complicated this thing, and
Yes.
it's so simple. What does the product do? I don't know. Let's watch the ABC primetime. Oh, it reduces oxidative stress. Oh, I know, but what does it do to this disease? I don't know. Let's watch the ABC primetime. Then you're teaching people that they don't have to get good at being a scientist.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know how to, like, I don't use social media. I've already done my gathering, so I just use it to say nice things about good people.
Well, my point is that I think we constantly have, no matter which method, we constantly have to build, we have to teach a presentation, a full story presentation, because then you get both customers and distributors. And I just feel like it's gotten a little too easy to get customers and you're not pulling them into the full presentation.
Okay.
And therefore we're
So
building
here's the
customers
cool
all the
thing,
time.
and this is what you're setting me up to make good points about what you're talking about. It's right here.
That's what I'm
Go
trying to
15 or
do.
more presentations a month, tell your story, company story, and how you get paid.
Yes.
So are you following me? See, I've never complicated it. Now, Krista hasn't complicated it. It's just the company's complicated it with all the stuff. And I'm telling you, you guys, that there's a lot of noise. I block the noise out and I stay focused on what helps. So the question is if you like what you're hearing and you want to be inundated with this information constantly, put a 1 down at the bottom in your chat. And then we're going to change all that. There's not every one of you, Krista, is the question you just asked me is different for every one of these people, because there's not one solution to that that's going to fit everybody, because everybody's personality. You're good at some things that I'm not even good at, and I'm really good. Does that make sense? I can't do some of the things that you do. And there's people on here that can't either. So let's all figure out, wow, 4 people out of 40. We're doing good, you guys. Okay, so let's figure out how to teach everybody through principles of behaviors how to become good at what they need to become good at to make this thing work. And so it's simple to me. If you're going to do a meeting, you're going to set up a follow-up. There's no reason to do the meeting if you're not going to. But now listen, if you're brand new and your upline's working with you, they're doing all of that. They're not doing it for you, they're doing it with you. You made the contact, but they're going to set the follow-up while they're there. Now, if that's not being done, then we've got to start somewhere, and we got to start teaching that. That's why building depth in your organization takes care of all that confusion, because the individual person is doing it while they're driving that taproot down. Does that make sense? So nothing, you guys, this is only one way out of a million ways to do this. It's just what it's done for us is it's shown you that you can build 2 Pro 10 positions and do over $1 billion in sales with Pro Tandem and all these other products. I just know it works. And if you're following it, when you get stuck, like Krista just asked me questions about on the internet, how do you follow up and how do you do this present? I don't have an answer. I didn't build my business that way. Now, what have I been doing over the last year with COVID? A lot of Zooms. Does that make sense? If you're doing this, I don't care where you're at. When you have a question, I have an answer, because this is what I did.
Yeah.
And I will never vary from this. Is everybody going to do this? No, this is work. This is work that creates stability. Everything else is they do it for a while and then change. Like, well, now we're going to do launch call 60. We're going to do that. 3 months gone. Now we're going to do the pools. The pools will soon go away. They're not going away. They're going to be there, but the emphasis on it, because getting in the pool doesn't mean somebody's a leader because they got in the pool.
No, it doesn't mean you're building a team.
It does. All it means is you just went and signed up 3 monkeys and a
Right.
chicken to get in the pool. That's what most people do, right? Okay, listen very careful. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Because I just about forgot what I was gonna say.
Pools aren't very,
Pools,
yeah.
pools. You don't build your business to get in the pool. Incentive trips. You don't build your business to go on incentive trips. If you do this, you'll always qualify in the pool until it's time not to qualify, and you'll always qualify for the promos, because this is the behaviors that cause all of the volume to grow that's going to allow you to qualify for those. When you're just going out and do the pools, it's a bump. You get a $200 check or 100. How much are the pool bonuses?
Well, they
100
range
100
100
change.
and something, yeah.
Yeah, 100. All right. So,
But they used to be huge, but that was when we
well, right,
first,
because they
I mean, when we first
it
started,
used
they
to
were
be
great.
based totally on distributors and platinum.
That's right, that's right.
And then they changed it to customers, and then they make a big deal out of it, and they want to make everybody in the company think like you're not building your business if you're not in the pools. But what I've seen, all the people qualifying for the pools, I haven't seen anybody rank advance yet. No, I'm not saying that hasn't happened. I watch all of our competition and I don't see the next level. I just see a bunch of pool stuff. And then it's anyway. So here's the deal, you guys. Again, I'm not saying that's bad. Okay. I just don't have answers because that's not what I do. I do this, and this is what I have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's always going to be new leaders come into the company. There's always going to be idea of the week, and there's always going to be noise. So my question is, when you have direction, then you quit listening to the noise. Find somebody that has what you want, and then do what they did, and don't listen to everybody else, and make sure that they have what you want. Okay, all I've heard from, well, I don't want to pick on anybody, but let me just say it without names, okay? All I've heard is how this person has just grown like 300%. They still haven't hit Pro 10. They've been in the business now for 5 or 6 years. Tyler and I hit Pro 10 in the 3rd year, and we qualified the first week. As soon as AutoShip's run it, we've qualified. We do 10 times what the requirement is. Does that make sense? And we've been very quiet because for some reason, we've been shelved for the new idea of the week to come in because it shows a little bump and then it bops back down. And what's happening is they're finally realizing that the little bump isn't enough for Wall Street. So now they want to get the big bump.
That's right.
That's all I'm at liberty to say. Did anybody follow that?
Yeah,
So find out who has what you want and the lifestyle you want and the check that you want, and then do what they did, and don't listen to the noise. Does anybody like smorgasbords? When you go there, do you eat everything there, or do you just eat what you like?
I would like to eat everything, but no,
try.
I
We
don't.
try to eat
eat
it.
everything.
And that's kind of like Elite Academy. Elite Academy is going to be a smorgasbord. And listen, if you're doing the information in front of people, eventually you're going to sign somebody up. My thing has always been, I don't want to wait for 100 years for that process to happen, when I know that if I'm involved speeding it up and I'm in control, staying in control of my business, I can get there a lot faster, because I know who I can depend on me. I know when I make a decision, it's going to get done. And I don't know who else will, but when you set that into motion, it happens. And you guys, sometimes it takes a while. Okay, now hold on. One gets confusing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there's 9 people on the call that like what we're talking about. So you 9, well, all of us, but get plugged into the building dev, plan on going to St. George, come down, check it out one time, and see if it's something that resonates with you, if you think that would motivate your other groups. But what's beautiful about it is you've got 30 other elites, including Mark and Krista, that are plugged into it, that are going to be teaching you what they did to get where they're at, using principles and behaviors. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It's awesome.
And some of them are using the internet and telling you how to prospect on the internet and telling you how to do that. But that's not how they're still going to meeting them, doing one-on-ones and doing all that. They're using it as a prospecting tool. So there's so much information. You guys are going to feel like being in LifeVantage in the beginning. That's what it's going to feel like. And you're going to get recognized for your efforts, and your upline's going to get recognized for what they've done, because I care and appreciate the leaders in our business and the elites in our business. And I really care about this couple. And that's why when he said, would you be, I said, are you kidding me, Mark? There is nothing, there's nothing that I could ever do to repay you for what you've done in my life and what you've done for this company and what you've done for these people. So absolutely. And I hope my message is never too strong, but you guys gotta understand something. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. This is a business. This ain't a polo club or a game we're
Thank
playing.
God.
This is your life. This could return dividends to you beyond your wildest imagination. And I'm going to teach you to treat it that way. And if somebody doesn't want to build it, they can enjoy our product. And if you don't put pressure on the relationship, they might change their mind later. And if you get really crafty, I tell all my people that don't want to build it, okay, they say, I don't want to build it. I said, all right, I won't ever even put pressure on you. Tell you what, if you introduce me to somebody that goes pro 4, I'll give you $1,000. Okay, they think $1,000. They look at the small little ticket there and they go, all right, well, here's 10 people. Not everybody goes pro 4 either, so that lets me off the hook. But if somebody does, I'd love to give them that $1,000 because I made way more than that. Does that make sense? Just, it's called, you guys aren't gonna like this, trickery. We use trickery. And that is getting what we want. And what do we want? We want their names list because they know people we don't know. And here's the beautiful thing. There are people on their names list that are praying for you to become the leader that you are so that you can pry those names out of them and get to them and give them this amazing opportunity. So I've always believed this too. And this is a product pitch. The second somebody watches that ABC Primetime is introduced to Nerf 2, you have a moral obligation to share that with anybody that comes in contact with you, period. And the fact that you can get paid and not make it. So it sounds confusing because we say 1 minute, well, it's a moral obligation, and the next minute it's not about the product. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's about a business. It's about an opportunity. We're going to consume the product. We're going to teach other people how to do it. And in the process, we're going to reduce oxidative stress. And what is that going to do for them? I don't know. Go on YouTube and read all the horse stories and pigs and dogs and cats and humans and all of the stuff that's happened over the last 11 years. It's amazing. And yet there's less than 100, there's only 100,000 people out of 8 billion people that are being distributors right now. More people have heard it, but that's all that's left. And you know why the others are gone? You know why people leave? Because somebody doesn't take responsibility and manage their expectations. They tell them that all of their vital illnesses are going to go away, and then they don't think it works. Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Manage and tell people what's expected, your retention will go up.
Yeah.
Sugarcoat it and tell them the least path of resistance, which nobody knows what that is. I don't know. I'm full of air. I could talk for hours.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I'm
Thank you.
gonna add one more thing onto this part of the conversation as well, and add a sort of an analogy or a metaphor that might be helpful. When you realize that it's as if Ray Kroc came to you when McDonald's was first invented, and he said, I don't know, Ron, Peter, Renee, you can open as many McDonald's around the world as you want to. I'm going to let you open as many McDonald's anywhere in the world you want to, as long as we're open in that country. And it would be like, do you want to go find people that will help build those McDonald's, or are you going to grab a frying pan and start frying hamburger patties? And that's kind of what we've made this about. We've kind of gone to looking to selling hamburgers when the opportunity to open 1,000 or 10,000 McDonald's around the world have been afforded to us. So it's not that we don't like hamburgers. It's just that we know that the world needs what we have, and we're going to do that a whole lot better. So when Marcel says, you know, it's trickery, it's not really trickery.
It's smart.
Because it's out of a heart of compassion, because we know we're on a mission, right? We know what we have is going to change the world. So the person that's blocking us doesn't have our belief. So we need to get past that person that is the obstacle to find those people that are praying. So you're
right. It's not trickery, but I love that because it gets a smile. But what he just said, your job is to go into their house and take the way they think and make and help them see it the way you see it. You're not even changing your thinking, you're changing their perception.
Yeah.
Most people, and you'll hear Tyler say this, he said it a million times. The first conversation you really ever have is getting over the industry. That's the hang up. How many people have gone into Life Animal and go, and they get in the pro tandem, why does it go to be a network marketing company? Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Once.
Okay, so
twice.
that means we got some work to do.
Heard that once today.
The last 15 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, how do we lose if we're all working together?
Right.
So if you are not on the Facebook page, you have to get, you got to request. Do that right now. I'll put it on. That gives you the information. The 4th and 5th will be in St. George. You're welcome to come if you decide to make the decision to come.
That's
tonight.
June 4th and 5th, everybody.
June 4th and 5th. Get registered. And then my challenge is to bring somebody with you. Bring somebody with you, because if you don't, when you're going to leave, you're going to wish you would have bring everybody.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, if you come and you don't feel that way, find me afterward and let's talk. Okay?
Yeah. So to answer your
I'll tell you
question,
what,
Debbie-
Mark will reimburse you for your ticket.
that's right. I'll buy you breakfast or dinner or something. Yes, you can fly into St. George. American and Delta both fly into St. George. You can also fly into Vegas and take a shuttle. There are 2 shuttle services that run into St. George out of Vegas. Those are pretty easy to find. And those Southwest flights into Vegas they've got 8 or 10 or 12 of those a day from most major hubs. To get the information to register for that event, go to the team page. We'll get that information marked as an announcement. You go to the Building Depth page on Facebook and do that. You can go to buildingdepth5x5.com and look for event registration. Any 3 of those places you can go to. If you can't find it, contact us. Krista and I are actually obligated to be overseas in June, so we're going to be live streaming in to the Building Depth event.
Could
So
be in the middle of the night.
we could be, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, probably will be, but we are committed to that event. So we will be there digitally. But I can tell you, if we didn't have to be overseas,
No,
where
we'd
my
be
butt
there.
would be in Dixie Center in St. George, Utah, June 4th and 5th. And
I
go.
took a picture of it just the other day, but it wasn't as pretty as I wanted it. So I'm going to go get another one and put it on the Facebook page. So go to the Facebook page and request that. That's a good place to get information. The other places he said is a good place to get information. And then once you're connected, Mikey Dorelli keeps posts and up to date on information that's so critical that there's a great reason to use social media to post information that's critical so everybody doesn't get lost in the motion. Because think about this, when we do start growing again at 200% and 300%, we want things into place that we can plug people into so that we don't have to stop and teach our groups ourselves and let the wave go right by while we're learning everything when we have access to all of this powerful stuff that's going on. And so I hope that made sense. If I could be part of your lives, I'd love to. I wish I could just come and hang out with you guys 1 week at a time and help you do your one-on-ones and all that, but I don't serve you best that way. That's Mark and Krista and the leaders in between them that do that. Once you get to Pro 10, your job kind of changes, but your mentorship, your knowledge and your experience and the wisdom, if people will put themselves in a position to share that, so you don't have to wait to Elite Academy and wait every 4 years when one of us get to speak. You get it constantly. And so if tonight you got tired of listening to me, then come to St. George. I'll bore you some more, but it won't just be me.
It's not boring.
No.
I know, but I'm
No.
just saying. But I
So-
appreciate you guys. And I think that, let me know, dude. I don't know if we want to do another one next week. I'm sure you got other stuff to do, but put me in. I'd like to have another reference with these guys.
Let's count it. Let's go ahead and put you in, lock it up now. We'll do next Monday night as well.
Can we? I thought we booked someone. Julie,
Julie,
didn't
if
we
you're-
book someone next Monday?
jump in here, Julie. Make sure
I
we're
think
not
Julie's
double
booked
booking.
someone.
No, it's, let me check. I don't think so. I think it's the following.
Oh, okay.
because today's it's gonna be the following week that I have somebody booked.
Awesome.
Okay,
Awesome.
great.
So yeah, put it in your calendar, Marcel. We'll take it. And guys, tomorrow night, Marcel is in the rotation for the topics call for building depth. That information is on the Team Life Tree distributor page as well. That will be 9 o'clock Central, 8 p.m. Mountain. And you get to hear from Dan Mollering and gosh, who's on that call tomorrow night? I think Greg.
Oh, you're gonna hear from all those elites. Here's
Yeah.
what I do want to say, you guys, because sometimes this happens to us. I like to look in the camera. Am I looking at you guys now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Normally I'm just staring at Julie.
She keeps us all safe.
Here's what I want you to understand, because sometimes we'll get complacent and go, I've already heard all of that. So here's my advice to you. Until you actually apply it and get the results, you need to keep hearing it. Because if you're hearing it and nothing's happening, because if you're thinking about yourself, because the building depth is for you, but it's also for your new people. If you're doing the principles behaviors, you're plugging them in. Not everybody's going to go to St. George, but everybody can get on the Tuesday night calls and the other stuff we do. But don't ever get to that, well, I've already heard it. Because if you're not doing it, you haven't heard it. Does that make sense? Unless you have another way that you're going to get to Pro 10, then that would make sense to me. But sometimes people say, oh, I've already heard all that. No, you guys, you don't know how many functions I sat through and had to listen to Dexter Yeager and hear all my upline leaders. Like I had to sit and then listen to them until I was one of them.
Yeah.
And that's what we want for you. We want you to become us, but not us. We want you to become you. Actually want you to become the person that you were intended to become. And this business exposes that. Here's the cool thing. Whatever you guys believe you're worth is a result of the way you work your business. If you think you're worth $1 million a year, you'll work your business as $1 million a year, but you set the price. Nobody on this call is telling you how much you can get paid like happens when you have a job. Sky's the limit. We have a income disclosure. Maybe we can have that up next Monday and we'll go through that a little bit. I'll just tell you how I talk about it. But I want you on there, I want you to look. There's income levels where people are at right now, and that's what they believe they're worth. You will work because it's your business. It's not Mark and Krista's or Marcel's and Lisa's or iPhone Lawrence or Don Powell. It's not their business, it's your business. The person that looks at you in the mirror that you talk to, self-talk all the time, all the doubting that you do. If you do that, that's who's in charge of your business. We're going to help and assist. We're going to show you the way. We're going to take all the lines and connect all the dots. But you will get what you paid, what you believe you're worth. And I hope and pray that all of you believe you're worth at least a Pro 9. I don't even know what it would like to have to live on 10 grand a month again. Like it would be poverty. And yet that was the amount of money that allowed me to sell my business and become a full-time dad. So it meant a lot to me. It means a lot to me today. And last thing, we'll have this in detail conversation later. But as we get further down this road and commitments are made and your faces are present and I'm seeing you, I know the results will follow. And then things will start to happen. The rank advancement will start to happen. And then also we'll start talking about when the money pours in. You don't start wasting and spending it like I've seen other Pro 10s do. You start getting out of debt. You start saving money for a rainy day so that you don't ever have to do another thing in your life if you don't want to. Or you give back, or you take your time and serve. You go on missions. You do whatever it is that you want to do. But we protect that. So anyway, thank you.
You're wonderful.
Yeah,
Answer
man.
any
One more-
I'll let you
one more
guys go.
question.
Love you,
We are
brother.
so grateful.
So yeah, we're getting a request for the St. George registration information. That will go back up to the top of the page on the Team Life Tree distributor page right now. That's what I'm working on.
And we'll have it on building depth tomorrow.
It'll be
And
on, yeah. So
we
same
can see
match.
each other tomorrow night. I can't wait.
I know. Thank you, Marcel, for being so generous with your time, brother. Sure do
Yeah,
love you,
we're
man.
so grateful. Love
Thank you.
Love to Lisa.
All right, everybody. Julie, any closing thoughts?
Nope, not tonight.
All right.
None?
Let's rock it out. Marcel, you rocked it, man. Thank you so much. Love
Bye.
y'all.
Bye, guys.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
Bye.
No,